I'm going to put you to the test, gentlemen. Each of you has 3 opponents, at least major opponents in this race, including Mayor Cook. I'm going to ask each of you, starting with Commissioner Hightower, to say something positive about each of your opponents, including Mayor Cook. And if you need extra time, we can come up with a few seconds. Commissioner Hightower.
Thank you. I've worked a number of years with Mayor Cook at Lakeland. Known him for a number of years. He's a great person. I think in the leadership area, I think he likes some things, but being positive, I think that overall he has served. He has served, and he's been there. Mr. Bradley, I've known him for a number of years. I've known him since he was a young child. I think he's very promising for the future of Benton Harbor. I look forward to working with him in the future. Mr. Knowles, I think Mr. Knowles has some serious energy that I think if channeled in the right direction, I think he could be very positive and help Benton Harbor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner.
No, please hold your applause. You're taking up their time.
Commissioner Knowles.
Yes, as of my colleague Hightower, or Commissioner Hightower, he's very soft-spoken and pliable. I've seen that too. Applied in a proper manner, we could really move the city forward. Pliability. Well-read. Mayor Cook, well-read, soft-spoken, applicable in certain areas because he's known and accepted. Mr. Bradley, young, vibrant, and we do need youth. Somewhat focused. The only thing I would suggest is check the details. Listen to everybody. Watch the steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Bradley.
With Mr. Hightower, I've known him for years. I was a member of his church years ago. Mayor Cook has a lot of wisdom. If you ever have a chance, anybody sit down with Mayor Cook, there's a lot of wisdom to be gleaned from Mayor Cook. Had the opportunity to meet with him a couple of times here when I was in high school and also in college, and had a chance to speak to him about the vision of the city. Mr. Knowles, every time I see Mr. Knowles, he has a lot of details about what to say and what's going on in the city, and that's something that you always look to those people that have information and you want to listen to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I would ask at this time is that people would hold up cards if they have questions, and that someone will collect them and bring them up to Lori. We'd appreciate that. I have a question that I would like to ask while we are waiting to receive more from the audience. I want to know, what do you propose to do with our water department? It is a money maker, it is a money loser. And would you support work towards keeping the communities that have not left? And what community is that has not left the city of Benton Harbor Water Department? Commissioner Knowles.
We all leave. And you know, say the saddest thing about that question is a very late question. In that, even in negotiations in the county having wanted to have a water authority, and then other people not paying bills, whether they be in the township or I'll state it tonight at the Harbor Shores, and we're not collecting these finances that are owed to us, then it has put hardships financially on a strapped resident population as well as businesses. I would say that the municipal water bond plan on full scale, because we know Lake Michigan water is the globe's fresh water. We're 3/5 of the globe's fresh water. I would champion that ordeal on the body and the residents, so that we can sell our water not only in bottles but get it patented. Therefore, we can sell water which is health science, strength, and life all over the world, and therefore we can take the stress off of the people who will feel 100% burden
Thank you, Mr.
on
Knowles.
increases next year. Thank you.
Mr. Bradley.
Our water department. I suggest working with the communities that have not left, and working with them in order to collaborate and see where we can draw a negotiation line, because like I said, our water department has been years of controversy with that.
Thank you. Commissioner Hightower.
For years, we were in the driver's seat with our water plants, being the only one. But as we've learned, individuals have options, and people refuse to deal with bad service. We have to improve the services that we give. We have to try to keep St. Joe Township. We have to try to keep the entities that we currently have. And not only that, it's important for the commission or the city to continue to try to encourage development, because we have lost, when we say we lost Benton Township, we lost Myers, Walmart, restaurants that wash dishes. You lost all of those points which were huge. Should have never happened. But it has happened, and so we must move on. So the best thing that we can do as a commission is try to hold on to the communities that we have by providing the services that they desire, and also continue to develop so that we can have more customers.
Thank you. We'll start with Commissioner Hightower, Commissioner Knowles, and then Commissioner Bradley. It says, what plans do you have for jobs in the community?
The first plan for jobs in the community, we have to become more friendly. We have to create an environment that entices businesses. In the past, I've seen individuals that have come to City Hall to talk about business. I remember setting up the Inspiration House in 2004, and I felt like I was at an inquisition. We were trying to set up a place to help young ladies who were coming off of drugs. You would have thought I was setting up a crack house. We have to make sure that we have an environment that is conducive to individuals coming in to speak to us about moving to our community. And not only that, you have to have businesses. If you're going to have jobs, you have to have businesses. Mm-hmm. And we need to make sure that we retain the ones that we do have.
Mr. Bradley. Mr. Knowles, Commissioner Knowles.
It's funny you asked that. I helped to bring in, and it will be forthcoming, although in the paper stated a commissioner, 160 jobs for the city of Benton Harbor, with a company out of New York, which now is looking at tax breaks. That was never mentioned. And it was a what do you call that, a news, we were at the board, we were at the board when the news broke. Never had been mentioned. Another thing I do notice too, when it comes to jobs that want to come in, the governing body will have to be strong enough to throw off any entity that would say no, they can't come in. So that means if we have bullies on the block, and we have bullies on the block, you have to be able to negotiate tough enough to protect your people. So yes, there are jobs coming in, but we have to have guts, we have to have strength, and we have to be relentless to protect the youth.
Thank you. Mr. Bradley.
In order, my plan for jobs elected, is that the question?
It says, what plans do you have for jobs in the community?
For jobs in the communities, that we have to change our reputation in the light of this. Our city, we have to change our reputation. When people hear of Benton Harbor, there's always a lot of negative things said and not enough positive things. In order for business to grow, we have to change our mindset and reputation. Also, we have to stop a lot of the backbiting in order for businesses to come in. And once somebody comes in with an exciting opportunity to use something, it's always shot down. But if we can stop the backbiting and change our reputation in the light of others, then we can get better jobs in our city.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I am taking my questions from the top in the order that they were in the stack. And I see that the first two go together. They're in different handwritings. So I'm going to read all the questions, but two of you will be covered through the questions I read. The first one is addressed to Mr. Knowles, but as always, we will ask all candidates to respond. So this turns out to be a three-part question. Where do you feel the city would be today if Mr. Harris had not been appointed emergency financial manager? And if the emergency financial manager is a dictatorship, what do you call a divided commission that has not been doing their job?
Isn't there a third?
Well, the first was, where do you feel the city would be today if the EM had not been appointed? The second was, I guess I read it as a question. If the EM is a dictatorship, what do you call a divided commission that has not been doing their job?
I'll answer that bottom one first. Foolish. Divided commission. As far as the EM, or at the time EFM, I was a proponent for Mr. Harris coming into the city because it was true. We were in a status of misappropriation, improprieties that have occurred through the course of time, but then also being led by outside forces that did not work in the community or were living in the community. I'll speak of, and I'll say it point blank. We had Cornerstone Alliance, who would be touted as the greatest force that would come through the city of Benton Harbor. The Cornerstone Alliance was the fiduciary of our monies, $20 million of not NSP2, but Hope $6. I came in back to the city to, because I had seen corruption, send people to penitentiaries for malfeasance. And this is what I saw going on here.
Time. No, please, you have worked to go over the time every time, Mr. Knowles. We ask for your respect. Commissioner Knowles asks for your respect.
I know you didn't want to hear that, but that's the truth. But thank you.
Mr. Bradley.
As far as where the city would be without the EM, we would be probably in bankruptcy, according to some of the reports. And a lot of things that need to be done in the city would have not been done. As far as saying the EM is a dictatorship and what you call a divided commission, a divided house against itself cannot stand. When you cannot work together as a one body, I don't care which side is opposed to the other, then you're working against that person. And that the person that's here appointed by the state, they are here, and when they see the divided commission, that means that they have a lot of work to do. So that's my opinion on that.
Mr. Hightower.
Did you read the question again?
I'll read it quickly. Where do you feel the city would be today if Mr. Harris had not been appointed emergency manager? And then comment on whether the extent to which the emergency manager is a dictatorship, and what would you call a divided commission that has not been doing its job?
For the first part of the question, the last pay period of March of 2010, Benton Harbor could not make payroll. In essence, what that means is there's no services, there's no fire, there's no police, no one is paid. The state had to come in. If Mr. Harris hadn't have come in, more than likely we would have went in, as I said before, we would have crashed and burned. We would have went into bankruptcy. The second part in terms of the division, I don't believe that when you have a commission or any group that comes together, there should be varying opinions. But the truth of the matter is, Benton Harbor is at stake. And we should all have the mindset that the state came in. Benton Harbor is not sovereign. The state came in to help Benton Harbor, and that's why the EM is here. We should support that in every way we can. Not that we're going to agree with everything that he does, but he's not going to agree with everything that you do. And he is not, I don't see him as a dictator.
Thank you.
Thank you.